I'm going to do a quick demo, by the way, with all of these devices, and I promise you're going to have questions. So hang on to those questions. They'll probably be answered at the first stop as we kind of do a hands-on experience to kind of get this party rolling. So again, just hang on to those questions for me if you don't mind, so that way we can get off this street corner. So first and foremost, thermal imaging. You guys should be able to see me in there. I'm the orange, red, and yellow guy. Like, this is the real deal. Like, this is a FLIR Pro. This is what firemen use to actually help save people. So like, this is a real camera on here. So we're literally looking for those blue and black spots to kind of move on their own or take shape. I will tell you, a few weeks ago, we actually caught, it's been in the past month, we've caught 2 things on here. I normally only capture about 4 to 6 things on this thing per year, but if we're not recording, we won't capture it. It was just kind of great that I caught 2 pieces within 3 weeks of each other. So it was like really awesome stuff. We're also coming out of a full moon too, if that means anything to anybody. Just so you guys know, we're sitting at about 93%. Yes, I pay attention to those things. It is my occupation. So cool thing about this video that you're going to get back is there's going to be a blue dot bouncing around the screen. I'm sure you can already see it. That blue dot is giving us the coldest point in the frame at that particular moment. So with that thing, it's actually helping us direct our eye and where we should be looking, but I also look at all of the blue and black areas inside the frame as I'm watching it. I've been doing this for almost a decade now, so again, been watching these videos quite a long time. So again, we're going to be recording this all night long. We're going to do a few starts and stops, only because as great as the hardware is, the software sucks. So if we record for too long, we're going to lose all the footage. So Dan, this is great technology. You'll have fun with this. You're going to be our cameraman for the night. I wanted to get this out first, so you were preoccupied. So high piece of technology here. You're going to keep that horizontal just like that all night long, and
find the ghosts.
Find the ghosts.
Yeah, that's exciting.
You got it.
He giggles when he's scared, just so you know. So if you heard him start giggling, he was scared he saw something.
Well, it also has audio on it. And what's funny, I used to like ask where my skeptics were and then give them that camera so I can hear their commentary later. People say some mean stuff. Like, they really do. Like, I was like, I gotta stop doing that. Like, I don't even want to know anymore. Like, it's mean.
Do you want me to pause now?
No, I want you to go ahead and keep it on. We're just gonna let it run, and just in case something happens in the haunted building behind me. So, next camera.
A big job.
Yeah. All right,
Oh
so
my
this
gosh,
guy.
I'm so excited.
This, you should not be able to see me in that camera. It should be pretty dark in there. So just so everybody kind of has a gist.
Yeah.
Now we're going to turn on some lights.
Ooh.
So you should be in a purple hue right now.
Yeah.
So again, what this guy is doing is it's using infrared lighting, which is lighting we cannot see with our own eyes. It has a light here and a light here. So again, it's emitting light that we can't see. So the hope is that it's going to capture something we wouldn't normally be able to see with our own eyes. So we do not record for lengthy periods of time with this because it will burn up the whole camera. I've already been through one of these. So I will give you guys cues on these starts and stops. Mike, I think I'm going to go with you on this one. Good. So now that both cameras are out, I will tell you that people do not like their cars to be filmed, and they do not like to be filmed themselves. So in the event that I say act casual, Mike, you will point yours directly at the ground. Yours is obviously easier to hide. You could just be looking at your cell phone, so forth and so on. It's an act casual kind of mentality.
Do we all need to whistle at that point?
No, it's a, hey, act casual, and it's almost like we play mannequin. You know, it's one of those kind of things. So, see, ghost hunting is fun. Let's get into spirit boxes. So spirit boxes are a way for us to communicate with the dead. We're going to be using several different types of spirit boxes tonight. This is going to be a good night, isn't it?
It's going to be really fun. I'm so excited.
So,
where are you guys sleeping?
I will also tell you, just in case there's any major concerns, there are things inside my bag that kind of keep things on a nice even keel. When I first started this 3 years ago, yes, you guys were bringing ghosts with you, and they were going home with me. So you gotta imagine I'm the guy with all the communicative devices. Your ghost wanted to talk to me, thinking I use these things 24 hours a day. So again, it was not a good deal because I do have epilepsy, and it was influencing my epilepsy. So it was kind of a, yeah, I needed to call some of my psychic friends and, you know, get some things handled. So back to talking to the ghosts, all right? Dan's like, what the hell did I sign up for?
I just think
Spirit boxes, this is kind of like the white noise you guys hear on your TV shows and your YouTube channel stuff, and then they tell you a voice that they heard in the middle of it and then trying to convince you of the same thing. We're going to be doing that in real time. So there's many methods that you can use these things with. Now, the voices that they claim to give you on television are called disembodied voices, meaning they're not radio chatter. So they're claiming that it's actual ghosts trying to come through. Those are a rarity, like a big one. Probably, again, just like the footage from the thermal, 4 to 6 pieces of that come out per year where I capture a disembodied voice. But there's another method. we can use this thing to actually listen to the radio chatter as it's sweeping through all of the radio stations and listen to the radio chatter and see what comes up. That's the song lyrics, the DJs, and the commercials. It's a 50-50 shot. I can tie it to the location of where we are, a person in history we're talking about, and something going on with one of you guys. So in the event that something is actually relevant and is relevant to one of those three things, I will always tell you why, because you're going to get the recording from this one and then give you a backlink to verify the information. This isn't because your tour guide told you so, it's because Britannica.org said so. So again, I do my research. I am a writer by day and a ghost hunter by night. So, well, I own this business, so this is my bread and butter. Yeah. The cool thing is I'm going to hand out 2 of these. The 2 people that are going to get them are going to have an earbud in, so they're going to be the only one to hear it in real time. So this one in particular is going to do the recording. So with the recording, you will get the full recording back tomorrow morning. So I will be writing down whatever the person hears in real time, and then I am going to do a spot check on this to give you about 15 to 20 more markers of things that are relevant and non-relevant. Why do I give you the non-relevant? So you know how to listen to this thing constantly. Victoria, I'm relying on you. This is a big job.
You can do it.
You're going to have to undo the twist tie. I do not want earbuds back. Earwax is gross. So you have a volume button that you can control the volume, whatever you're comfortable with. You can't mess with the recording because it's recording at a nice even level, so you don't have to worry about messing up the recording. So most people just listen with one earbud.
So I don't need to touch anything up here, right?
Except for the volume at the very top, right above the numbers. It's the wheel, not the button. So the second one is not going to record. So I'm going to rely on the person and whatever they're hearing in real time to be able to tell me what they're getting out of it. So, Genevieve, we got to get you to talk. So,
We're gonna get you to talk.
So, these are the only 2 identical items that I have in the bag, only because everybody loves these things. And all of my spirit boxes work a little bit differently than the next.
Where are you guys from?
New Jersey.
Yeah.
Alright, you have to undo your twist tie. Your volume button is the wheel at the very top, so get used to that. Again, most people only use one earbud so they can hear the history and going through the spirit box. Let's get into the next spirit box. This one works a little bit differently. This one we don't have to listen to. It's going to provide the words for us right on the middle of the screen. Yes, this is a cell phone, which means this is a phone app generating all of these terms. There are over 9,200 terms inside this database. The game we're going to play with this guy is it coming from the ghost or is it coming from just a generated word? Now, 80% of what we actually capture out of this, it's going to save everything to a list, by the way, and you're going to get the full list back. 80% of it is garbage, doesn't mean anything. It's a phone app. It's meant to be a game and a hoax. However, this thing gives me timestamps, so when something does pop up that's actually relevant, it helps me go to the recordings to find out if there's something else relative to be able to verify it. So, with this one, I don't want to see every word that pops up. I will come to you. Otherwise, we'll be out here till like 4 in the morning, and they have a pizza they have to get. So, what do we want to go into next? Jonathan, you're getting my brand new device, sir.
Oh boy.
This one is another spirit box, but it's going to run through the AM and the FM stations at the same time and take out the white noise that your sister's hearing. So hopefully the things that pop out of this are going to be relevant to where we are. So far, I've only had this thing for about a month, and it has been about 75% accurate. So it has been pretty awesome.
Good.
Yeah, I love this thing.
You freaking out about this, or you're cool with it?
I think he's freaking out a little.
Yeah.
He's already starting to chuckle.
Oh, I'm a lot freaked out.
So you two are going to be giggling together? Is that what I hear? Little
Now,
chuckles here and there.
You're probably only going to get about 10 things out of it that might actually sound like words. It's going to be about 4 to 7 of those that are going to be something that's relevant to where we are. So I'm not expecting a whole lot out of this just based on the experience I have with it so far. The only thing I need you to worry about is where the mute button is, which is right here. I'm going to put it on mute right now. So again, I might say in certain areas we're going to put it on mute because it might be a quiet space. Other side. You got it.
Spoon. 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 Spoon.
They need
that's the wordle word of the day.
It might be.
Oh no.
You guys
I
have
didn't
seen
play
these
today
on
yet.
TV, right? These are pretty basic. So these kind of help me debunk like what's actually happening. So with these, like it's going to measure electromagnetic field. So anything coming off your cell phone, wiring, building, those kind of things, parking meters, will kind of debunk those things pretty quickly. Now your cell phone would literally have to be like right on top of it in order for it to make it go off. But with this particular device, like this is my debunking tool first. So it doesn't make any noise. It doesn't do any beeping or anything like that. It doesn't vibrate. So you just got, I already have the colors memorized. You just have to let me know what color you're seeing.
Okay.
It's green.
You're my multitasker.
Ooh.
So this is also an EMF meter, but it's called a Mel meter because it has 3 different functions. So he's got a couple of sets of numbers on his screen. The first big set of numbers is an EMF meter, just like what Mom has. So I'm assuming like mom, dad, kids, right? Mom, dad, kids. Okay, I just don't want to call anybody mom and dad. It's not mom and dad. So anything above 2.5 is what I want to know in the big numbers. The reason why is because that would be mom's second green dot. You and I will debunk things. Yours is a little bit more accurate. Again, debunking tool. This actually helps us get a little bit more accurate. The bottom is ambient temperature. If Dad finds something on his camera, you and I can debunk it or prove it pretty quickly with the ambient temperature at the top. Dad's like, what the hell did you sign me up for? I love it.
I was as vague as possible. Guess what we're doing? Tra-la-la.
Last thing it has is it has a REM pod, basically a motion meter. If something gets close to that antenna that I just pulled up, it's gonna go off. Now the closer it gets, the higher it's gonna go in pitch. So again, there's different colors in there. I'm gonna show you more about that at the first location. For now, I just need you to focus on those numbers on the red screen. Got it? You're the man.
It starts going off. I think we're all gonna freak out.
Yeah, we'll be fine.
Definitely.
You're getting scared.
All right,
You
so
guys do this before?
What's that?
You guys do this like as a
No.
family? Or? This is new too?
This is all new.
Is this supposed to be recording or not?
not yet.
Wait, where's the volume again?
It's the wheel
The wheel.
at the top.
Put the thing in your ear, otherwise you won't hear it. Are you
You got this, Victoria.
This is gonna be a fun night.
Yeah, it is. It is.
All right, so let's talk about why we started here. First off, Nick needs water. So any concerns that you guys might have, go ahead and voice them now if you have them. Other than Dan's like, where do I start?
Oh boy, I'll be a team player.
You got this, dude. You're a cameraman.
Oh, it's just switching channels. Nothing ever happens to the cameraman.
No. No.
Let me have that moment. I had him gone. All right, Big John's. Place behind me. It is haunted. Yes, it's closed right now because it's Monday. That's the only reason why it's closed. They just renovated into Big John's because it used to be called Big John's in between a couple of other places. So, this used to be owned by a football player named Big John Kennedy. He played for the 1947 New York Giants. Every time I'm giving you the history of a location, I will always slow down on specific keywords. Here, it's 47, New York, Giants, and obviously John and anything relatable to a bar. So, he used to sit in the back of this bar and tell the bartender if the cadets coming over from the Citadel, if they were old enough to drink or not. And one night, 2 guys came in, they're not old enough to drink, so he has a bartender throw them out. They leave pretty angry. They come back the next night, and they try to steal the cash register from the front of the bar. John sees what's going on, and he puts down his beer, and gets up and just starts beating the heck out of him, just pounding him right into the floor. A couple of gunshots go off. John gets grazed in the neck, and the bullet lands behind him in the wall. John gets up after being shot, the only one that was shot, by the way, goes back to the bar and tells the bartender to get him another beer, get the 2 guys on the floor in an ambulance. So, the irony of the story is that nobody died in that story, so what's haunting the place? She thinks haunting, it's somebody dead, right? John's blood is in this building. Even if they filled in the hole, where the bullet hole actually was, because I have seen it, and I don't drink, so I don't go there often, so it's a matter of, is it still there? Even if it isn't, John's blood is inside this building. People that have dinner here, they tend to get a little queasy, nauseous headache. And I get a lot of those reports from you guys, because you guys will eat dinner there because you all get the same text that I sent you guys this morning. I was like, oh, we'll just eat at Big John's. They're dealing with the paranormal activity. The only time I ever get any activity in that space is in the front of the building where the bullet hole used to be. So, and I've already discounted all the wiring and all of the things that have been inside that building. This is kind of your heated warning. With all of that said, fingers crossed, we're going to be dealing with paranormal activity tonight, and I don't know how it's going to affect any of you. So if anybody starts to feel any of those things, I need to know immediately so we can move the whole team and get that person to safety. That's headache, nausea, dizziness. So just kind of keep that in mind. And we do have 2 moms on the tour, so we're going to move right along so we're not like focused on, oh my God, my kids are going to get sick on the tour. So Big earthquake here in 1886. If you didn't know that from any other Charleston history tour, now you do. We all talk about it because it's an anomaly. We're on the East Coast. We're not supposed to have earthquakes. This is allegedly where the first death occurred from that earthquake. The white mantle you see in the middle of the building wraps around to the front of the building on the east base to my right. Piece of that broke off, struck somebody in the back of the head and killed them. And they say you could see his ghost in the middle of the street in the middle of the night. Now, I say apparently and allegedly a lot with all of that because I don't have any proof. It's just a great segue so the moms on the tour aren't thinking about their kids getting sick on the tour. So, yes, that's a laugh. That's a good chuckle. As I bring it up again, right? All right. Is everybody ready to go ghost hunting?
Yeah.
Sure.
All right.
Let's go.
Dan's the last one.
Sure.
Right now, scared that I wrote Do you see him sitting in that chair?
Yeah.
I did a couple. He's sitting in that chair right there. He's talking on his phone, but it's like
That's probably the only one.
Legitimately a human.
it's a person, like a legit. Yeah, thank you.
Hang in there. Thanks. I know.
So I'm going to give you a hard time all night.
That's just fine.
Trying to get your mind off and not feeling
Levity is good.
Yeah, I deserve it.
So, I want you guys to all think of your time with me as kind of a ghost hunting 101. We're going to progress throughout the night. This is an easy spot. So, with that said, it's a one-line piece of history. You're at the Big Red Barn Lot where we keep the horses for the carriage rides. So, they can hear us, which is why we use earbuds for the spirit boxes now. So, history here is really simple. This is the same Big Red Barn that had horses that delivered milk and eggs to the residents of Charleston. So, let's talk about those spirit boxes. How many do I have in play tonight? So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. Yours is not a spirit box. You're a melt maker. So we have 4 spirit boxes in play. I have 6 total. So you guys have to imagine, like, I got to keep track of what's what out tonight. So, spirit boxes, this is not TV or YouTube. This is not, is somebody here? Like everybody wants to ask, right? Because if somebody answers no, it means somebody's here. So we're not going to be asking yes or no questions all night long. We want actual paranormal proof. You don't get it out of yes or no questions. So in a space like this, I would normally say, we're not going to explore the space for too long because I want to get us to much deeper history. But I would say ask a question you already know the answer to. If somebody's here, tell me what color the Big Red Barn is. Obviously, we're looking and listening for the color red. However, most of you are using spirit boxes that are waiting on DJs and song lyrics to convey a message back to us. The word red might not be there, but fire truck, blood, heart, those 3 things are specifically red. I would accept that as an answer. What color is the Big Red Barn? Blood. I'm good with that. However, most of the night, I'm going to ask, like, I kind of wait for something else to happen to verify another clue that's going on. For example, where's my word list? Michelle, let's say you actually have the word art on your word list. Victoria, here's the number 40. Neither one of those terms mean anything by themselves, but put them together, Art Faircloth was number 40 on Big John's team. Do you see where I have to kind of put these clues together? We're going to be dealing with people from the 17 and 1800s. A lot of them have the same name, Charles and Georges and that kind of thing. We need to know who the heck we're talking to. So a lot of times you're going to hear me say tonight, that's a great clue, I'm going to wait for something else to verify it. And yes, I will withhold information on purpose so that way you're not getting subliminal messages to waiting for listening for specific things. So, cameras. Let's kind of talk about those real quick. So for yours, Mike, after the next actual piece of history, I'll say let's go ahead and get yours started. That's going to be the orange button at the top. And that thing loves to freeze up. So we're going to test out the first segment and see if it locks up. If it doesn't, super great. Then we're going to keep going. If it locks up, then we're going to have to start and stop it every 2 to 3 minutes and I splice it all together. You have 2 lights working for you. You have a long distance and a short distance. So if somebody gets too close, notice how my hand leaches out. You can turn off the short distance and the long distance will still be working for you. There's a red button right at the top. And it's Velcroed on there. So go ahead and point that camera at me for a second and look at the viewfinder. So I should be somewhat purple, right, in a circle because of the lights. So I'm not looking for things inside the lights. I know what reflects light. I'm looking for things that normally would not be able to reflect light. I'm looking for things in the darkness over here. So if something comes up and kind of swooshes through, then I'll be able to see, like, freeze frame things and kind of see what the shape of it is and kind of tell if it was actually, you know, something man-made that we would normally be able to see or not. You're going to see a lot of bugs in there, and those are easy to debunk, but we will hopefully capture a lot of orbs coming through at the same time. The camera loves to capture orbs. Unfortunately, we won't be able to see the full color of them based on the infrared lighting. The color of them usually has a little bit of meaning behind it as well, but we'll talk more about that. Dan, you're a specific camera. You're going to try to do two things. First off, you're going to try to keep somebody in our group in the frame at any point in time. The reason being is because our skin is going to be the warmest thing out here. It's only about 58 degrees out here tonight. So we should be 97 to 99. So if anybody has a temperature, let me know and I'll kick them off the tour. They need to go home. So the other thing you're going to try to do is keep the sky out of view. The reason why is because that blue dot bouncing around is always looking for a surface. The sky has no surface, and it automatically defaults to the sky because it's the coldest thing in the frame. Some places that's going to be impossible. Just do your best. So again, people in, sky out. And again, when we do the act casual, this is like one of those spaces where, you know, obviously there's vehicles. So if somebody was going to their car, I would say, all right, guys, act casual kind of thing, especially if we were exploring the space a little bit further. I'm going to show you a little bit more, Fisher, at the next spot about your REM pod, the motion sensor. So we're going to hold on that. You haven't had any readings at all, have you?
Negative Red Rider.
Well, now you got 15.
What does that mean?
So, Fisher, do you have anything showing up on yours? Since you guys are pretty much standing next to each other? Okay. This is probably something coming from the building behind me. So the way we would actually test that is to go straight to the building and see if it turns red. So, again...
You want me to do that?
Go right ahead.
All right.
You're exploring.
Hey, baby.
It should be getting stronger, but it's really not.
Nope.
So whatever that 15 is that you just had is obviously coming from over here, and there's nothing underneath us to make that thing go off. We actually have a sewer line underneath us in this particular plat of land. So very interesting. I'll take note that you have 15 milligauss on there, and then of course, Fisher, anything on yours would be anything above 2.5. Just be mindful when you guys are in your parking meters, they will give us false positives. Pay no attention to it. All right, I say we go deep dive into much deeper history than ponies and football players. What do you guys think? Cool. All right, let's go learn about the colonial times. Let's do this.
Right, you love it.
Especially when you're hunting for ghosts.
Whose idea was it at a beer party? Same thing over there with mom, like leading the pack.
Those moms, I tell you, they're trouble.
They are trouble. The things we do.
Oh, why does this go? Well, maybe it's parking meters or something.
I want to see your word list before I get started here, just to kind of see what's going on. When I say you want to see the list, you're going to click the scroll right here, and then you'll literally be able to scroll through every word we've had and see how it has timestamps, and then you just circle back.
Got it.
So nothing so far, all 80% BS. So you're a ghost, Christy? Are you a ghost?
I'm just checking.
Okay.
Maybe.
Again, you got that 15 milligauss, but this is a space where I've seen probably not the highest I've ever seen, but it's up there. So, Fisher, your device is going to hopefully capture some really good readings here. So, let's talk about why we're here.
Okay.
Let's get into this, because this is a crazy spot. First off, Spirit Boxes, I'm not going to be giving you questions like, what color is George Washington's white horse? Like what we did over there with the red barn. You will get the answers from your Spirit Boxes, and yes, I will withhold information. I will keep saying that, just so you know you're going to have a genuine experience. So, where are we? This is the Charles and Eliza Pinckney mansion site. This is where their mansion stood, in the front of this lot, facing East Bay Street. Eliza's garden was lined up with Five Church Restaurant over there and came all the way across. You're going to see why that's relevant in a moment. And we are standing in the servant and slave quarters for the home. So that kind of gives you the layout of the land. So who the heck were these people? Charles and Eliza had a son named Charles. They had a nephew named Charles. That's 3 Charleses, in case you lost count. The son and the nephew were signers of the Constitution for South Carolina. But none of you are from South Carolina, are you? So we're going to not talk about politics, because I don't like them either. So let's talk about Eliza. Eliza married Charles at a young age according to today's standards, not the colonial times that she came from. So if you ask her how old she was when she got married, it's not going to be like 12 and 14. It will be according to today's standards. The reason I bring this up is because Charles was over double her age. Kind of crazy, but once you hear the numbers before we leave here, you'll understand like it's really not that bad. So she married him because her father over in England thought he was dying and he wanted to see all of his kids one last time. Well, she didn't think he was dying.
Just went to 4, and then went back down to 0.
That's why they call it ghost hunting. They don't stand still. Perfect. So anything above 4 at this point, we're just going to keep escalating it. We want to see how high we're going to go because I don't want to write down a billion numbers because you're going to get them. But anyway, where was I? Dad was dying, right?
Dad dying.
He's dying.
Yeah.
She got married. And this is 1744, so this is not like she married him for a green card or citizenship because we're not even a country yet. So she does marry him. Dad gets better, which means she was right. Dad starts sending her apologetic gifts to this space. One of those gifts happened to be the plant seeds of indigo. Now, you guys have been in town for at least an hour or two that I know of. You've seen the term indigo somewhere, I promise. Yeah. So indigo is a plant that makes blue dye that makes our blue jeans blue. Christy's wearing it right now. That's how we still use it today. So she didn't know what to do with it when she got it, so she had to learn from her slaves how to keep it cultivated. It's obviously not warm here all the time. So when she had it figured out, she moves it to a plantation just north of here and calls her dad. Not really, they didn't have telephones back then. But she calls him up and says, hey, rice plantations are going downhill. We can make a killing with this indigo. And now we have an international businesswoman during colonial times. This is something absolutely unheard of. That's the business of Eliza. Let's get into the weird stuff, because that's why you guys are all here. Eliza was the second wife named Eliza, back-to-back from Charles. When I say back-to-back, I'm talking 5 months apart. First wife Eliza dies, 5 months later he marries this one that planted the indigo. Kind of smart or kind of stupid, depending on how you look at it, fellas. So the other piece of that is that both Elizas actually have a maiden name that starts with the letter L, ironically. So if you want to ask which Eliza you're dealing with, hopefully you get her maiden name. So again, play around with it. You can ask what happened to the mansion. It's obviously not here anymore. Then you can ask, when did that happen? Hopefully you get the year. So it's a very specific year. The children, I told you there was at least one. His name was Charles, right? Signing of the Constitution. There are more. You can ask how many kids she had and what their names are, but after that, leave it alone. If you poke the bear too hard, there's a tragedy among those kids. Even the little bit of readings we're getting on Christy's machine, like, it'll stop. It'll go right back down to green, and our time will pretty much be over because it pretty much happens the rest of the night at every location. So just don't make her mad and don't ask her about the tragedy of her child. Let's see. Oh, Eliza's death. That's where she's pretty open. You can ask her anything you want to. How did you die? Where did you die from? Where are you buried? What U.S. president was a pallbearer at your funeral? Like, these are very specific questions. So, again, you're not going to have a full-blown conversation coming out of these things, but we might actually get some full sentences by all of the different types of spirit boxes we're using tonight. We are going to spread out on this area. We do not go in between vehicles. Looks like we actually have that corner up there. Looks like it's pretty open. Like over there by the dumpster wall is pretty open. And I want to say like this corner up here is pretty open too. So EMF readers, I want you guys kind of exploring the space. Officially, you should be working with Dad just in case he has something.
Oh, thank God.
I was thinking I got to keep someone in the frame is what I was thinking.
Well, this way he can actually find where the cold spots are if you have something that pops up. And then you should be working with Genevieve just because she needs to know where to stop and ask questions. Now, here's what I'll tell you. If you're going to ask questions that are not what I just gave you and you go rogue, it's perfectly fine. Just A, make sure they're not yes or no questions, and make sure it's something I can prove. What I will tell you is where we're standing right now and you're getting that kind of reading, I cannot prove anything about the slaves and servants. There's no records. So, just so you guys know, you'll probably have to move around a little bit and find a new spot. As far as the word list, anything pop up?
No.
No. There's some vague things in there, so I want to wait for the second things to verify what you actually have, so I'm not going to tell you which ones they are yet.
Okay.
Have you heard anything come out of yours yet? Have you been paying attention to me?
Just radio.
And that's what you want. So just kind of keep that in mind. Whatever the song lyrics, no matter how silly you think it might be, like I said, drop it like it's hot. I want to know. Like, buy it now. You need a Kia today. Like, all of those little things, I want to know what they are. The things that are relevant, I'll be writing them down on my little notebook as we kind of go through. You can unmute now. You can start recording. Let's explore the space. Fisher, I do need to work with you first to show you how to use that REM pod, because we're going to use it in here for sure. Everybody else, let's spread out. Let's have some fun. Let's do this. That's why you guys all showed up, right? Yeah.
I don't think yours is being
It
recorded.
has a red tab on the wristband. Yeah, there's like a little red. Okay.
Over there, I think I heard look behind you.
Okay.
And then I was like, oh, there's nothing. And then I heard it again, but it was look behind. And that's when I turned around and was doing the things.
Right. Look.
And that was over.
Next.
What else did it right
You
there?
had 15 milligauss on the readings over there. And over here you had a 4 on this, right?
Yeah, just had 3.1 like a second ago.
Okay. Now, I will tell you, just so you have a point of reference of like what that's measuring. So behind your TV is a bunch of wiring, right? So that's about 40 to 60 milligauss, depending on how many PlayStations and Xboxes you have. So the other piece of that I want you to kind of remember is your microwave running on high when you're nuking up your ramen noodles. Yeah, that's about 150 milligauss. Like those are dangerous levels, and we need to kind of move out of the space. I have seen this device record up to 158 milligauss in this space before. So again, it wasn't affecting that specific person. We all kind of stayed clear because they weren't being affected, but it will cause some serious headaches.
23.6.
Nice.
28.6.
Likes those 0.6s. Mom had a 20, 25, so she's pretty much running out. Alright, go ahead and pull up your antenna. Let me show you how to work that REM pod. Now, on the back of the device, there's a little flap. You can find so flip the device to the back. You see there's a little finger hole right there. You're going to lift it up this way. There's 2 little white buttons back there. The one closer to the edge is the one you want. So click it into the device. Perfect. Flip the device around slowly, and you'll see that little green light on there. The reason I say slowly is because your motion will make it go off. So go ahead and just jostle it a little bit, just like give it a little shake. Oh, it's actually going to be behaving tonight. So your walking will probably make it go off. There's a way, what you just did was you created a separate type of EMF field around this antenna that's not being measured on this screen. So they'll work independently. You can have a reading here, but not on the screen, vice versa. That's another reason why I say to turn around slow, so it doesn't blind you. So when it is going off because of your movements, every single time it goes off, I want you to reset it to see if the same reading comes up. The way you reset it are these 4 buttons along the side here. So just like you have it, it's the very bottom button. You want to keep your thumb on that the whole time. So every time it goes off, you stop and you click it, and it'll reset the whole field. So basically what's happening is you have a field like this. When it breaks and it makes a color, whatever sort, you're clicking on the button, straightens it back up again. Does that make sense now? Okay, so a lot of times I like to kind of use this as kind of a call and answer. If somebody's here, make it go to a specific color. In this space, I like to use blue and purple just because of the color of the indigo. So it's kind of like a trigger color. If I'm trying to work with a child ghost, I'll just ask them to show me their favorite color. So a lot of times it's either purple or blue. Sometimes it goes to red, just depending on how close they want to get to the device. So again, find those readings, hang out with Dad, chit chat. And you guys can flip-flop as long as it stays within your party. So in case you guys want to try something new or different, by all means, move the devices around. So have some fun with it. See what kind of readings you're getting. I've already seen you've already.
I'm going to follow you.
Yeah, I've been all over the board.
You won't need to tell me all of the readings.
Anything higher than 28.6. What did they catch?
She'll tell in a minute. I swear, I'm constantly catching angels. So. Oh gosh. Is it just loud? What'd you catch?
What?
It sounded like just a screech. It just sounded like a screech.
Like a screech or a scream?
I don't.
kind of both. I don't know. It didn't sound like the static. I don't know. It's weird.
Eliza.
Are you getting some?
Oh!
That's why you guys run the devices.
No way.
Now you need to
No
ask me
way.
which Eliza.
Which Eliza?
The name Eliza just showed up on the spirit. I want to see Dan jump out of his skin. That's what I'm
Oh
waiting
man,
on.
I am a little freaked out tonight.
Genevieve, what are you hearing over there? Anything? It's difficult, isn't it?
It's hard to tell what it is. Yeah, but it could have just been static.
So, and I love giving that to teenagers, first off, because sometimes the history can get a little lengthy, but they always give me what artists they're hearing. I just heard Harry Styles. I just, like, they always give me the artist. I'm like, I don't care who it was. I want to know what they said.
That's awesome.
They all do it. I think it's funny. It's part of the reason why I do it, because it gives me a chuckle. Guys, have you heard anything out of your head?
I think I heard like an O or something. Yeah.
I thought you'd be listening in because she has another earbud.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, but this way you guys can verify each other.
Do you have one of those at home, Evie?
What?
Do you have one of those at home?
Yeah. I also have a spirit box.
But not as good, she said.
Yeah.
What do you
I
mean?
thought I heard behind again, but I don't.
What do you mean not as good? You have a different type of spirit box?
Yeah, it just this one is a bit more clear, I think.
So you have the SB7, I'm guessing.
I
It's a
think
little
so.
black one?
Yeah.
Actually, the one Jonathan's using is the upgrade. So you have an SB7, that's an SB11.
How much is that one? Super expensive?
I just bought it, I want to say it was like $289.
Oh.
Yeah, it's a little up there. And actually the company that makes that specific spirit box, they just created an attachment for that auto noise canceling, so you get all of that, like you have to attach it. I don't think it's going to record that way, so I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to get it.
Floating head.
Really?
Floating head right there. Oh, it's attached to a body.
Oh my word.
Well, the funny thing is I've caught ghosts walking on the other side of
I
the
don't
boat.
want to know what it
That's why we're here, man. Jeez.
I just don't do well with it. When you said they don't follow you home because you have all the devices, I'm like going, oh my god. Who do they follow home?
It's usually me. So this just went off, and I reset it. It went up to like green and what's the next one? Yellow?
Like a yellowish color?
Yeah. So it went up to that, and then I reset it and it did it again.
Oh, that's it?
They
Perfect.
said
Go!
who was there, and they said
Cold.
someone's husband said so.
Someone's perfect. Yeah.
I heard 554. Said 554. And then when we asked, because there was a sensing, there was a reading over there, and it said on her thing, her husband.
Yeah, someone's husband is what he just reported back. So 42, 43, 54.
It said Jesus Christ.
She was very religious.
Pretty sure.
It's and once we get closer to St. Philip's Church, they will go crazy.
Huh.
Is that me?
Reset?
Yep.
Reset? So it's definitely a flickering green. Eliza, can you tell us what your maiden name was? We have plenty of those boxes out tonight. Just pick one. I would never use device. It's like in the terminology of what
Yellow.
These are black boxes. Just tell her which one like I'm using, the red light or the blue light.
Yeah.
You know, nice.
Went to yellow.
Any other numbers popping up? Any other terms come up on your end?
Dusty.
No. Something going on there.
Yeah. I think it said like finish or something.
Usually if we get a goodbye, that's usually when I end things a little early.
That means it's time to go.
And it's happened.
Eliza, what was your maiden?
Eliza, we want to see what your maiden name is. Can you put it on one of these boxes for us? So we can either hear it or see it.
Unclear.
Okay.
Maybe
Tell-
repeat the question.
I've already asked it several times. Eliza, can you tell us what happened to your beautiful home that was here? Yeah, let's go try. Let's go to the corner.
I just went over there by myself. It was super
It's
active.
a yay.
I'm gonna go.
It's a yay.
I don't know if I'm tired to go. I got 28.6 earlier on the temperature.
What's your biggest number?
28.6. He said it. He's seen it go to 150.
Come on, Eliza.
Cool.
12 is relevant. Eliza, tell us what happened to the mansion. I'm listening specifically to you. Just so you know. Family and home from Eliza, what happened to your home? All right, Eliza, I'm going to give them all the answers to the questions. All right, just so we're not near vehicles, let's just go back to where we started at the back. Videos, you guys can stop, kind of give your hands a break, Dan. Like, I don't want to see any more.
Hey, how's it going?
Hi.
You guys doing a ghost tour? Nope. Yeah? Yeah.
Yeah, we got it.
Lisa, Danny, and Edna.
What'd you hear?
Lisa, Danny, and Edna. Sorry.
Lisa, Danny, and Danny.
Yeah,
What? You hear anything yet?
we got a few things that once I start going through the data tomorrow, I'll be able to link it all up.
Cool. Oh, cool. Well, I'm a dork too, so.
She just called us doll dorks.
I'm actually working, but that's okay.
I should have gave her a card. But anyway, it's not about marketing, right? So where are we? We're in Lodge Alley. So Lisa, Danny, and Edna. I can't say for certain that any of those names are what I'm looking for. I have to check the full list. So let's kind of get into why we're here and what actually happens here. So when we crossed over that last crosswalk, we came over the original Charlestown Walls, which means we are inside Charlestown. Charleston used to be called Charlestown, the walled city. So again, it was fortified with this giant brick wall all the way around. We are standing on one of the very first streets we ever had. So that's why I love to come here. So I want to say that these bricks have been here since the 1790s, roughly. But we're going to talk about these bricks further here in just a minute. But anyway, the reason I asked you guys all for names. Oh, we have the name Logan that showed up on the word list as well. I look at that as a last name for that time period because people used to live down here. So I have the full list of residents of every person that's ever lived down here. Here's where things get a little odd. I normally hear the same names every 6 to 7 weeks, and I will tell you we are into that 6 to 7 week time period of when I'm expecting to hear these names again. Benjamin and John. I know we had a John earlier. Somebody heard of John. But I'm going to relate that back to Big John. So I'm going to be looking for clues wrapped around him instead of this John. So here's where it gets weird. When I say people lived here, there was only like 4 to 6 people that lived here at a time. Do I have anything significant about Benjamin and John other than the fact that they lived here in 1801? I have nothing. I can't find any relevant event that occurred down here in 1801 other than that they lived here. It's the same names. If we ever get confused about which John, we get his last name as well, which was Johnson. So I want to say like 2 weeks ago we come down here and somebody heard of Johnny and the next person heard of Johnson. I'm like, are you kidding me? So again, we can't make this stuff up. The Logan, I'm unsure about. I'll have to check it. It's not a lengthy list, but it is there. Every once in a while a third name will pop up. That name is Jane. Now, Jane, we don't hear that name too often, and first off, why is it coming up on the radio stations? So that's 3 out of 5 people that lived here that I get the same names over and over and over again. Here's why. You're standing on Belgian blocks. Again, I just told you roughly around the time frame that they were put here. Belgian blocks are made straight from granite. If you guys watch any kind of paranormal or anything about the paranormal, you know that limestone kind of stirs things up because it comes straight from the earth. Granite is a lot like limestone because it comes straight from the earth. Now, they say when stone like this old, has been sitting in the same place for too long, it can kind of hang on to the consciousness of memories, replaying it over and over and over again. It's like I'm watching a 6 to 7 week long movie and I'm waiting for Benjamin and John to show up and say, Benjamin, John, like at the very end. So they did do an archaeological dig for, underneath the bricks that we're walking on, and when they actually put them right back. They did find some of those people's clothing, some of their tools, that kind of thing. So I was waiting, hopefully spoons.
I've got axe, rope. I've got, with Logan, accounting, coin. I've got a fisherman and a mother.
Fisherman. That's where most of the people that live down here were mariners. So they dealt with fish. I'm loving on the fisherman right now. That's a great term. I'm liking it. So it makes sense that these people were considered lower class. First off, when I say people lived here, these houses were shotgun houses, which means they only had 1 to 2 rooms total. And the smell of low tide would have been coming across the other side of the wall, coming down the alley. The rich people of Charleston are not going to put up with that. If you've guys been walking around Charleston and seen the houses that are skinny in the front and go long back, so there's a couple of reasons for that. First off, we have piazzas, which means we have front doors on our porches. That helps keep the smell of low tide from coming in because low tide stays pretty low to the ground. You would open up your second-story window, and it would allow the cool breeze to come in from the water and actually cool off the house because cool air drops and heat rises. So it was old-school air conditioning. The other reason is because you were taxed based on how much street sides you took. So the skinnier your house, the less taxes you paid. So it kind of helps things out a little bit. I just showed you pictures of the Pinckney mansion. It actually sat broad against the street. They didn't care. They were politicians and farmers. So again, money. It was bragging rights. They just didn't give a damn. And then you have the word farm coming out of here. So with that said, that's why the Pinckney mansion sat the way they did. Not to mention it was outside the city wall, so they probably weren't taxed as heavily. Let's see. Oh, before people lived here, all of those residents I just told you about, the Freemasons had a Masonic lodge here. Hence the name Lodge Alley. So we do get a lot of terms wrapped around the Freemasons. Obviously, Freemason, brick, anything dealing with. Isn't there an axe in their logo? So I'll be looking at that for sure to kind of look at that logo and see if there's an axe in there. But we have gotten the term Illuminati several times in this location. First off, Frida Ho's talking about the Illuminati on the radio. That's where I'm getting it from. Second term, I only get it while I'm in this alley. So last year alone, I want to say it showed up about 4 or 5 times, and it's already shown up at least once in 2022. So again, very interesting stuff. But again, this is a place where we don't necessarily ask questions, but it's a great insight into where we're going and kind of gives you a layout of the land. Now, what's going to happen from here is we're going to obviously walk through the rest of the alley, but I'm literally taking you right on the edge of where tour guides, me, is allowed to take you, because we're going to be cutting through a neighborhood. So videos we're going to cut off once we exit the alley, so you can keep it on in here. And again, you're going to kind of stay on mute for a little bit, just as we kind of get through the neighborhood, if you don't mind. K2 meters, you guys are going to probably ignore your readings for a little while until we get to a further off space. Unless, of course, you get some crazy off-the-wall reading. That'll be nuts. It's happened once or twice. But the next alley I take you to, we're not going to walk all the way through it like what we're doing here. First off, I'm sure you guys realize I'm taking you to places that the other ghost tours won't take you, but we're getting into that more popular area. I'm the guy that got booted out of that alley because you guys have all the blinky lights and the noisemakers and that kind of thing, and it is considered residential at the end. And if 2 other tours are going through there, that's normally about 40 people, it's unfair for 10 people to try to investigate when there's that much commotion going on. I still tell the story because it's amazing. We'll get stuff from that particular alley the rest of the evening once we pass it. If we haven't already gotten things already, because we're getting close to it. It's a crazy story. It's about a duel, so if you're into dueling, it's pretty nuts. And then we're going to do kind of a little myths and legends based on what the spirit boxes are telling me. I change things up based on what they're hearing. You getting readings?
I can't really see it.
Oh, I've never seen it do that before.
Oh, we're in trouble now.
After that, we're going to deep dive into a female pirate and do a full-on investigation like what we did over at the Pinckney Mansion site. So, but again, we will get terms relative to that. Wow, that is nuts. I've never seen that before.
Too much Illuminati talk and they shut it off.
Holy cow.
Can't they like drain the battery?
They can, but I literally put brand new rechargeable batteries in everything before I leave.
Mine is not, too.
Yeah, well, yours always needs at least one change, just because those battery, the video on that is a little nuts. That is, I've never seen it do that. I'm going to be changing the battery along the way, so I always keep a spare. All right, let's head up to the next alley, and of course, video recorders.
Oh man, I just love it.
Some anomalies will show up on there. We just never know. And what's nice is that we're in a little more popular area, so the people walking by will be our point of reference. So,
well, you're making this enjoyable for a reluctant participant, so.
I'm going to count this as one of the batteries that I put in there. It was a lower voltage than what I have on the other cameras, just so you know. So it wasn't anything paranormal.
They were all about what are those people doing?
Everybody
See their
does.
faces?
I'm usually the oddity. Like, I don't have a whole lot of tourism friends in town because I take a lot of business, as you guys can see. I'm usually church. I'm not surprised. We're near Church Street, and I told you once we get close to St. Philip's. It happens all the time. All right, buddy. Get back online. So, yes, yeah, I'm going to change yours next. Yours has different types of batteries, so. We're going to leave it muted because there's a lot of history going on here, but I'm trying to take care of these batteries and stay focused, and this way I can focus on you guys and not the batteries. I carry 5 because that thing has gone through 3 or 4 in one night. So, alright, so I'm going to take the frame. You can hold the frame for me.
Do you do this every night?
7 nights a week. Wow. The demand is there. That's why I do it. I was only doing it 6, but I realized I was taking Mondays off, and that's usually people's last hurrah. They want to do something crazy before they leave. And Mondays have been my busiest day next to Saturday. So I decided to raise the prices for Friday and Saturday, and people are still throwing money at me. So I'm like, what the hell? I'm going to leave them there.
Yeah.
And once I get the next camera, which is a little nuttier than the two you guys are using, I got to raise the prices again because it's another $1,000 camera.
Yep.
So, but it's all a tax write-off. It's all good. It's basically all free stuff so I can make money. Yep. All right, so yeah, we want to definitely kind of keep yours casual. You know, just kind of shoot the alley behind me. I'll bounce back and forth so that way I'm in the frame a little bit, but again, just as a point of reference. So behind me is what we call Philadelphia Alley now, because we named it after one of the cities that helped us out of one of our many, many fires that I told you guys about earlier. It used to be called Duelers Alley because this is where all the duels used to occur for the city of Charleston. We all talk about one specific duel, and again, you're probably going to see tours coming through here, and they will stop up there, but I do like to get a little bit of footage. So, let's tell the story. Let's get on with this. There was a doctor that moves down here from Rhode Island. His name is Joseph Brown Ladd. Again, his name shows up a lot. That's why I slow down. So he moves down here because his fiance... Wow, this street is busy tonight. I feel like I'm screaming at you guys. He moves down here. His fiance, Amanda, just inherited a bunch of money from her dead parents. She has an attorney helping her out with all of this cash. The attorney thinks the doctor's just after her money, so he tells her to get rid of the doctor. So he moves to Charleston to prove that he's not just after her money. The coachman that brought him into town set him up to be robbed and killed. So it wasn't a very good start to his stay in Charleston. Somebody's seen what was happening, a local, walking by. His name was Ralph Isaacs. I stop on Ralph's name because you're ghost hunting. This isn't just a story. The initials mean something. Ralph has the same initials as where the doctor came from. Rhode Island, Ralph Isaacs. R.I. has shown up here numerous times, but I always need that secondary clue, so I need to know who it belongs to. But anyway, Ralph says, dude, you don't want to stay here. He's got a gunman inside that's trying to kill you, and he's going to take all your money. So he's like, I got some friends at 59 Church Street where you can actually rent a room from them, and you'll be safe. You'll be good to go. So he takes him up on the offer, and Ralph and the doctor become friends. The doctor's practice takes off. He's making his own money. He's proving his point that he wasn't after Amanda's money. He becomes known as the whistling doctor because obviously Amanda's moving down soon. He's a pretty happy guy. Yes, this is the late 1700s. People whistled. I will also tell you that any haunted city you go to, you're going to hear a story of a whistler. Ours is a doctor. Just kind of remember that.
I heard a whistle.
A whistle?
It sounded like it.
I'm not surprised. So I want to say 2 weeks ago, I caught the whistling from the song Patience by Guns N' Roses. And then a week before that, I had the whistling come through from whatever Maroon 5 song that is. I can't remember the name of it. But yeah, it was like, okay, we're getting the whistles. Awesome. So anyway, back to the doctor. Ralph and the doctor go see plays together, but they can't sit next to each other because the doctor makes more money. He gets better seats. It's just a hierarchy of the way things worked. They talk about the plays on the... Cancer? We're a little far for Eliza. Unless she's following us around.
Oh, no, that's not happening. It was probably Dancer or something like that. Prancer.
We'll go with Prancer.
Yeah, thanks, mate.
So, where was I? Oh, they go see plays, can't sit next to each other, doctor's more rich, right? So they talk about these plays on the way home. One night they go see William III from Shakespeare, and they're arguing over the new actress. The doctor thought she was fantastic, Ralph, not so much. So it gets even uglier when Ralph starts insulting the doctor's fiance back home in Rhode Island. It gets really ugly when they just go their separate ways, but Ralph is from here. He has friends at the newspaper. He goes to his friends and he puts an ad in the paper telling the whole city of Charleston what he thinks of the doctor. Yeah, kind of a jerk move. The doctor sees the ad in the paper and rebuttals with, let's go to Duelers Alley. We're going to settle this, meaning somebody's going to die. So they come down, they take their 10 paces, they turn, the doctor points his gun in the air and he shoots. He did not want to kill his friend. He just wanted to have the courage and bravery to show up to the fight and show his friend that he was willing to forgive. Challenge. I normally get like competitor, and that usually comes out of any type of spirit box, but you're giving, she also has match and challenge. So again, these are great terms. So Ralph still has his one shot, and he's still pretty angry. He puts it in the kneecap. Sorry, Fisher. The doctor doesn't die, so he just falls to the ground, obviously in massive pain. His friends pick him up and carry him home to 59 Church Street, where he dies 10 days later after refusing medical treatment. You have to remember, he's a doctor. He probably tried to bleed it out himself. So, they say you can hear the whistles as you go down the alley. They also say you can hear gunshots. I don't have any proof of that. But I will tell you, when I was taking my tours through here when I first got this started and didn't know any better, because yes, I played the stupid card. I'll tell you why here in just a moment, because that's the fun part of this story. you can actually get some faint whistles in the background on the voice recordings. So again, I invite you to walk down there. It is one of the most picturesque places we have in town. It's gorgeous. You can see the lighting even at night. It's perfect for pictures. It is one of the most quiet places that we have in Charleston as well. Again, it is residential at the end. Doesn't mean as tourists you can't walk through there. A tour guide just simply can't take you all the way through. That's the rule. So here's how I got kicked out, right? This is the fun stuff. This alley didn't always come all the way through, so it was kind of blocked off. It didn't come off on the Cumberlands. Oh, by the way, speaking of, if you're going to go down there with your voice recorders, just keep in mind all the locals know the story. Anybody walking up and down Cumberland Street or Queen on the other side is going to throw a whistle down the alley. I do it every single night because we end there. My garage is right there, so I throw a whistle down the alley every single night. When my daughter's on the tour, we race to see who's going to do it first. So it's just something fun we do. And we love to mess with the other tourists just because I can't go down there. But anyway, so again, this alley didn't come all the way through, which means the bricks on the other side are older. They're sun-dried bricks from slave children, probably younger than you guys. We do have a full handprint and fingerprint swipes in those bricks at the other side. I used to show them off because it's part of history and it shows how far we've come. However, everybody wants to stop and put an EMF meter or a spirit box or something near it. That kid is not staring at that brick in the afterlife. And that brick is right outside a gentleman's dining room window. He was not pleased. That was November 26, 2020. November 27th was Thanksgiving. I got a phone call on the 28th from the tourism office. Like, okay, I get it. They told me to either go down halfway like every other tour or reroute. So I told my group that night, again, I'm still new at this, we're going to reroute and wing it. Obviously, my tickets were much cheaper. They got the winging night. So somebody hears the number 300 on a spirit box and somebody else hears the name Anne before I even get into the story. I'm like, I have no idea what these things mean. We're going to find out. But I was going to tell what I did know about Anne Bonny, a female pirate. So obviously the Anne was relevant, but I didn't know what 300 was. So the next morning I'm doing my research. We were there on November 28th, 2020. Anne Bonny's trial for piracy was November 28th, 1720. We were there on the exact 300-year anniversary of her trial.
Crazy.
Now that last space that we go to, it's a hit or miss. Anne Bonny is said to be seen all over town. We are taking a chance and rolling the dice that she's going to be there in the same 15 to 20 minutes that we're going to be there. So again, we never know. It's either we're going to get a lot or we're not going to get anything. It's just one of those spaces. However, the history of the space is kind of crazy, and Anne Bonny's story is absolutely absurd. So if you're into pirates, that's a crazy deal. Before we move on, have we seen anything else that's been popping up? Genevieve, I know you've been listening, because I can see your eyes moving up every once in a while, like waiting for something to come through. And any other terms from you, Michelle?
Nothing that I think really. One song, testing Jade, Plead.
I heard Chicago.
Who had, was it 5 candidates? Where did that come from? That was you?
I have a basement.
I've heard 5 people twice. I don't know if that's important.
She heard 5 candidates specifically.
Candidates?
Mm-hmm. What's interesting is that Charles Pinckney was actually a candidate for presidency. That would be the nephew. And I want to say there were quite a few candidates for presidency during that time. So I'm going to look into that and see if it's actually the number 5. So again, that's why I told you, like, oh, that's good, because I know there was a lot of people running for president in those 2 years. All right, so let's move on and let's see what we can capture there. You guys can continue your video if you want and capture everybody's butts as we're walking, or you can cut them off and just wait till we get to the powder magazine and go through the pirate thing. So it's completely up to you. All right. If you're a geocacher as well, there's a geocache underneath the step. So if you're into that. But let's go ahead and have a seat. We're going to see what you guys have seen, heard on your spirit boxes, and I'm going to give you a few little tidbits about this corner and why we're here. So what have we heard? What have we seen? Anything going on?
He's had numbers show up.
Yeah, I got like 50.2, but this probably just...
Was it on the crosswalk?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, all of our crosswalk signs and the parking meter electrical lines are underneath the sidewalk. Yeah. So the closer you get to a crosswalk, like those little yellow pads, you're going to find a lot of them coming out of there. So, but good catch. Anything else come up?
I think mine just said high.
High? Vague, but we'll take it. Any other terms coming up out of you, Michelle?
One, basement finish, ridiculous, which made me laugh, and special.
Yeah, I just got 1, 2.
We don't have any basements here. So it's weird that that would show up here, but I am going to tell you about an underground tunnel.
Ooh.
So we'll kind of see how this goes. Every tour guide in town will stop up at the cemetery gates right up here. There's a reason for it, and I let them have it because it's their show and tell. You guys have your show and tell with the gizmos and gadgets, so I kind of let them have it, but I still tell the story because it is relevant to your lesson of Ghost Hunting 101. They're up there. Well, let's first point out a couple of things about the cemetery. So there's 2 different sides to the cemetery. There's an eastern side that we're sitting on now, and then there's the western side. If you're from Charleston, you can get buried on this side. Charles Pinckney, Eliza's husband, is buried on this side. Other side's for everybody else. John Calhoun, your 7th vice president, is buried across the street. They have no idea. They didn't know which side he was supposed to go to, so they just picked up his sarcophagus and moved it several times. So, yeah. So he ended up over there because he's not from here. So that's kind of the consensus.
Fair enough.
And that side is usually open for you guys to walk through during the daytime because obviously there's a vice president there. I will tell you that Calhoun is not very well liked here. They actually just ripped down his monument in December during the BLM riots that we had. So it was actually 100 feet in the air, and they protested till they had it torn down. So it was giant. It was at Marion Square. So if you're familiar with that, like staying over in that area, there was a giant, like it was 100 feet up on a column. Like it was a big deal. Plus there was a time capsule in it. So I was super interested in it. Locked in Calhoun's hair. There was some money in there from that time period. Some really cool stuff. It was a myth that it was there, but it was actually there. So it was pretty cool.
That is cool.
Yeah, it was very cool. Obviously I'm into like a little bit of treasure hunting too, as I'm talking about geocaching and stuff, right? So they're up there because there's a sign right inside the gate. It says there's no ghost here but the Holy Ghost. They don't want guys like me going up there trying to reenact what actually occurred. So it's a very quick story. Young lady in 1888 dies 6 days after her stillborn child. Her name was Sue Howard Hardy. Now, we just talked about initials with Ralph. Sue Howard Hardy's initials? Sue Howard Hardy. It's cheesy, corny, won't even bring it up. Excuse us. Won't even bring it up if I haven't seen it and heard it for myself, because a lot of times, a lot of the teenagers like to put 2 earbuds in, and they're not paying attention to me, and they'll just turn around like, somebody just shushed me on here. And it's like, yep, they sure did, because that's her initials. She's like, you know, she's here. So I do show the picture. Oh, by the way, it was 1987 when a local photographer was taking pictures of all of the cemeteries. He captures a full apparition in one of his photographs. It's 1987. He doesn't have the tech that we have now. He sends it to Kodak. I normally have to explain what Kodak is. That's where we send our pictures, kids, so we can build them. But most of the group was good. But as far as that goes, Kodak can't debunk this picture either. So for guys like me, it's gold. Like it's very easy to see. But the picture is cursed. So I'm going to ask everybody to not touch the tablet as I go down the line to show you the picture. It is cursed to females. Females that handle the picture, even in digital format, said to have same symptoms like what I told you about before. The headache, the nausea, the dizziness. Pregnant females are probably not going to have a good pregnancy based on the gist of the story. Remember, she had a stillborn child. So I'm not going to be the guy where somebody has a great vacation and 9 months later I get a phone call because I cursed their family. So again, I'm going to show you the picture because yes, it's super cool. In the event something actually pops up around this specific story and I have to give you the verification link, it will say, warning, this has the cursed photo. Just so you guys know, this is my occupation. Like, this is what I do for a living. So, again, I'm very cautious. The other tour guides, I don't know what they're doing. I think one guy actually hands out the picture, like, hey, check it out. So, this is the full picture that the photographer took. The apparition is right here. Those are her shoulders. You're looking at her back and the baby basket next to her. And yes, that is Sue's grave. So even when you blow it up even further, you can see the weaving on the basket. This is probably another instance where the baby is buried with the mother. So you're looking at her back, the top of her head, and then the baby basket next to her. Clear as day.
I have a pillow.
Pillow. That's interesting. Full pic. Apparition. Shoulders, top of head, baby basket next to her. If you look real close, you can even see the weaves in the basket. It's pretty cool stuff. But yeah, that's their big grand finale for every other tour. That's why I let them have it. You guys actually are capturing evidence for yourselves, so I think that's much bigger than trying to just so let's get your mindset going on pirates. First off, do you guys see the burning gas lamp back there in the distance?
I think so.
Yeah. Kind of flickering a little bit?
Yeah.
That's the pirate house. It has a big anchor on the front of it. You can't miss it when you guys are walking around and you're on Church Street, just so you guys know where you're at. Somebody lives there, so don't go in his backyard looking for ghosts. He gets pretty angry. Don't ask me how I know that. So, again, I know which neighbors not to make angry. The guy on Philly and the guy on Church. So, anyway, that's where Blackbeard's men would come off their ships and actually have a place to stay. And I met with a few ladies. I'll keep it PG-13, don't worry. We're talking pirates the rest of the night, so I gotta watch my mouth. There's a few things in there. But anyway, they actually dug a tunnel underneath the pirate house going 1 block away to Duck Street Theater. Duck Street Theater at the time was a whorehouse, a playhouse, and a hotel. Obviously, we're talking pirates. We could see the main attraction, but they were also there because of the playhouse. Pirates were our first stagehands. They worked really well with ropes and knots. They would go there to work in between bartering with the locals. Mike, we having trouble again? Damn camera. I gotta get that thing replaced. They won't replace it. I've been arguing with them for months. So, and what's funny is most of that equipment that you guys are holding came from that same company. You would think, with the amount of money that I spend with these people, they would replace one part. But anyway, the interesting thing about that tunnel, even though, like I said, we have the word basement, we just filled that tunnel in the 1990s. I want to say it was 93. It took a long time for us to figure out, hey, this thing floods a lot. We should probably fill it in. Rumor had it that Blackbeard actually had his treasure there, or at least part of it. I called BS because we all know that damn treasure's in North Carolina where he died, not here. He was probably up there trying to protect it. So, other side of the, like basically where those people are standing, there's a sarcophagus, close enough to the sidewalk where you can reach inside the gate and touch it. It's that close. It is from William Rhett. Now, William Rhett is a captor of a pirate, so he caught a pirate. His name was Stede Bonnet. He was a gentleman pirate. This guy was a joke. Like, Blackbeard kept him aboard his ship as an apprentice because it kept the morale of his crew up, because everybody made fun of him. Gentleman pirate buys his way into piracy. He's not a natural pirate. This guy wore a wig on his ships. Like, he was a joke. Big deal. So once he actually had his own ship, he got caught by William Rhett, the man across the street, and he was turned over to the Chief Justice Nicholas Trott. So there's my name that'll pop up at least once tonight. There's one more that we're going to talk about. Nicholas Trott decides he's going to take Stede Bonnet's men and hang them on White Point Garden and leave them there to warn off other pirates to not come here. So, yeah, the story is true. But the haunting that is down at White Point Garden is not true, at least according to my studies. I've been there dozens of times, day, night, all the gear, all the things you guys are holding right now. I got nothing. Nothing even comes out of a spirit box related to that story of the pirates being hung there. So take it for what it is. Now that everybody's kind of getting a little dreary-eyed, I can see Victoria's eyes like nodding off a little bit. We're going to get you guys up and back working again. So let's get you up off the butts, and we're going to go across the street.
Okay. Murphy need anything? Sure.
Oh,
Show my age, aren't I?
I heard hay.
Hay.
Alright.
This
will
is
be
so cool.
last stop, Dan. You hanging in there with us?
Yeah, this is cool right here.
Oh, look at that. I'm getting you guys like super early back to your pizza. And we're still going to have our full 2-hour time frame, so because you guys all showed up early. So actually, I don't normally pay attention to the time until somebody says they need a pizza. So, right? I don't. I mean, whatever happens, happens. I can't time it. If I see things start to die down, like what we did at the Pinckney, I'm like, all right, let's wrap this up. So, we're going to be talking about that little tiny building over there with the crosses on it. First off, those are not crosses. Those are earthquake bolts. Just behind earthquake bolts is that they're turnbuckles. So basically, if we have another earthquake, like what we did in 1886, which we have not, you can turn those turnbuckles, and it's supposed to straighten the building back up again. Cool. It's a great idea. It just doesn't work. Oh. The reason I bring it up is because these are the oldest earthquake bolts we have in Charleston. They were the first set that were put in because this is the oldest government building in South Carolina. It was finished in 1713, which is why we're here. Our ghost, Anne Bonny, is from the same time period. We're here because this is familiar. It's kind of like using a toy to attract a child ghost. It's the same type of principle. That's why it's a hit or miss. We're either going to capture a lot or capture nothing. We talked about the Charlestown Walls earlier. The parking garage behind you is where the walls stood. It went up Cumberland Street and went just past the powder magazine, started going south behind me this way towards the battery. It locks it into the corners on purpose. The reason being is it's 3 blocks away, the furthest it can be, and still be within the city walls. Because if it gets attacked by a Revolutionary warship or a pirate ship, the cannonball is going to have a hard time getting through the 32-inch thick walls to get to the gunpowder, to blow it up. We're going to pretend it does, and it goes all the way through and blows up the gunpowder. There's sand in the roof underneath those wren shingles from the early 1700s that's supposed to go up with the explosion of the gunpowder and then fall to put out the fire from the gunpowder. Another great idea that doesn't work.
Oh, shoot.
I know, right? We had another powder magazine closer to the battery, much closer to the water, got attacked, sand went up, building burned down. No longer exists. This one's just never been attacked. It did serve in 7 different wars for you history buffs, the Civil War being its last servant, just so you know. It is a museum now, and you can walk through it if you're into artillery and old war uniforms. So, if you ever need to get out of a heat or cold in Charleston, that's the place to go. It's cheap, and you can spend 30 to 40 minutes in there and warm up or cool down. It's a great place. Not an advocate of that place, I just have a season pass and they have the best folks in town. So, let's talk about Anne Bonny. This building took 10 years to build. Does that sound like our government? 10 years, small building, right? So, Anne Bonny's story begins right in the middle of its construction. So, 1708, a young lady moves here by the name of Anne Cormack. She moves here with her father, from Ireland no less, with her father and his mistress. The mistress is her mother. Are you guys with me so far?
Okay.
Okay, the three of them are running away from his wife. How mad was she? Just saying. So, they ran away from Ireland to get land here. They land in Georgetown, just north of here, in between here and Myrtle Beach. Dad buys a plantation, Mom dies pretty quickly. So that means he has to send young Anne down here to Charlestown to sell anything from the plantation to keep things afloat. Dad used to be an attorney back home in Ireland. We don't need attorneys anymore. So, we had enough. So anyway, back home in Ireland, Anne was kind of a badass. They say she actually killed one of her servants. Victoria, she was probably your age. How old are you?
13.
Oh, wow, she was way younger. You're pretty short. So, she was like 7 or 9 years old. I was guessing you were like 10. So, I wasn't going to say 9. But she, about 7 or 9 years old, Anne kills one of her servants with a knife to the belly. Just kind of giving you her mentality. Now, we're going to fast forward. Building's done in 13. Pirates are coming through town in 1715. Anne at this time is like probably 16 years old, maybe 17. Again, it's all sketchy. A lot of holes in this story. She falls in love with a pirate. His name is James Bonny. Dad doesn't approve because he's a filthy pirate. Of course, I wouldn't approve either. I got 2 daughters myself. So, with that said, they run away to Jamaica. They get married. Anne Cormack becomes Anne Bonny, your most famous female pirate of the Golden Age. If you play video games, there's a video game with the story in it. I might see teenage kids, and I'm like, yeah, you play video games. But anyway, so when they get down there, this is not the swashbuckling, rum-drinking Captain Jack Sparrow that she was hoping for. This is, he's a privateer, which means he's pretty much a spy for the British. He's a coward in her eyes. This is not who she wants. A few years later, she falls in love again. Guy number 2, I'm going to keep track. John Rackham, a.k.a. Calico Jack. We're going to call him Jack through the rest of the story just because it's a much cooler name, and he has his own ship. Anne wants to be part of that ship. You cannot put a girl on the crew. Girls curse pirate ships. So he makes a deal with her. If you dress like the crew, meaning hide your gender, you can be part of the crew and be a female in my quarters. He's the captain. That's how it's going to go. She's okay with this because Dad used to hide her, dress her up as a boy back home in Ireland to hide her away from his wife. So she's like, whatever, I'm a pirate, let's do this. Adults, let's put 2 and 2 together. Being a female in his quarters, she's eventually going to get pregnant. You cannot have a pregnant pirate dude on the crew. Somebody's going to figure out that she's a guy. So he drops off in Cuba. Go have the baby, come back later, we'll figure it out. She has a baby, comes back, there's no baby. We don't know what happened to the kid. She's also dressed like a female. She doesn't give a damn anymore about hiding her gender. So this makes Jack pretty mad. Jack just captured another pirate crew, and they're down below deck. Anne's going to go flirting, because that's what Anne does. Guy number 3. Guy number 3 turns out to be a female, dressed like a guy to be part of the pirate crew that Calico Jack just captured. Yes, I practiced that in front of the mirror, in case all of you were just staring at me like, what the hell did he just say?
It's a whole lot of words.
It is. I'm a writer, I can do it. So, with that said, this young lady's name is Mary Read. We have 2 females doing the exact same thing on the same pirate ship. Anne Bonny and Mary Read. So she convinces Mary to become part of the crew. They become friends, possibly lovers, we'll never know for sure. And the British find out where they are. The British send their entire fleet of ships to take down one pirate ship. Not very cool. Anne and Mary are the only 2 not drunk enough to come up and fight with their 1-bullet flintlocks. So they're trying to save the ship. They're obviously going to get taken. As they're being arrested, Anne looks at Jack and says, you should have fought like a man instead of being hanged like a dog. So the word dog is obviously prominent on your spirit boxes. The judge, Nicholas Laws. Again, another Chief Justice named Nicholas. You're going to hear my name in here a lot, hopefully. Now, Nicholas Laws, he wants to see the 2 men that fought back so valiantly after he's already tried and hung Calico Jack and the crew that was down below deck to 2 drunk to come up and fight. He thinks 2 men were trying to save the ship. The 2 ladies go in front of him, and they reveal their gender, hoping to save themselves. She can't really hang a woman back then, unless they were a witch. So, he doesn't care. He's still going to hang them because they're still pirates. Then they say, we plead our bellies, which means they're both claiming to be pregnant, because in 1720, you cannot hang a pregnant woman. It is illegal. So he sends them both back to jail. Delays the hanging. Dad is still here in Charleston with all of his Irish money. He bails out Anne, brings her back home. She remarries. Husband number 2, guy number 4, has 4 children, and dies at the age of 84. Very abrupt ending. All my stories end with death. Mary Read. She dies a year later in 1721. I know, I'm a silly guy, right? I write all this stuff so I can make sure it's all good for you guys. So 1721 is when Mary Read dies in that Jamaican jail from whatever pirates died from in the Jamaican jail. Scurvious, bumpy, gross, whatever else you guys want to come up with in your mind. I'm sure it was nasty. We don't know if either pregnancy was true. This is an area where you guys get to do whatever you want. You can ask whatever questions you want to. You guys all know how to use your devices. So I left 2 things out on purpose, just so you guys had somewhere to start for you Spirit Box teams. The name of Anne Bonny's parents, the father and his mistress, I left out on purpose, and the name of Calico Jack's ship on purpose. So that way you can ask a few questions just to kind of get your mind stirring on what to ask next. EMF readers. This is not a space where you're going to get a whole lot. If you get anything, I will be excited. That usually means something else is happening. Your REM pod is beautiful in here. The closer the two of you get to those bushes, the more you're going to get feedback from all of the street stuff. So the further around the middle, for you, those of you with video cameras, if you want to go to the front of the powder magazine to get some footage, you can. You have to exit the lot in between the two pillars and make a left. You'll see obviously the wrought iron gate in the front. You can poke your cameras right in the front. I ask that you just don't interrupt other tours. So again, if you guys want to go up and check it out together, that's cool with me. Have at it. I know you're not running far. So I told you guys at the beginning of this tour that people have passed out. So this is my only passing out story, so I do love to throw it at you because it is super cool. It's kind of like me getting kicked out of Philadelphia Alley. So back in September, nice cool night just like this. Bring my group back here just like this. The kid next to me goes white as a ghost. I had to pick him up by his armpit before he hit the ground.
Really?
Yeah. I take him over to that wall where the brick is, because that's normally where we end anyway, because I could set my bag down. There's a little ledge. I send his boyfriend over across the street to go get him a bottle of water so he can start to feel better. He comes back. He's feeling better. I then tell the story. So they don't know the story yet. I tell the story. I send everybody out to go play, and they pull me aside. We have to tell you something. Like, what's going on? They're like, we are two transgender males, meaning I had two females dressed as men on my tour. Just like Anne and Mary. Again, these are things I cannot make up. I'm a writer, but I'm not that good. I can't make that kind of stuff up. So take that for what it's worth. They were perfectly fine with me telling you the story. I did not have to call the paramedics or EMTs at night. Thank the gods. Because I have had to do that in the past. It's usually the psychics and mediums don't tell me that they're psychics or mediums, and then I take them to the Pinckney mansion site, and it is way too much for them to handle. So they're the ones that usually drop like a wet noodle. I can't tell you how many psychics and mediums actually left my tour because of it. And then leave me a nice tip later on. But anyway, with that said, I just like to at least give you guys that heads up story because this is a weird space. Does anybody have a headache now? Okay, interesting. Normally when I'm this close to this side of the cemetery, we start hearing certain things wrapped around John Calhoun and somebody usually gets a headache. So, not that I brought you guys back here purposely, but again, it happens probably once a week. So, kind of take it for what it is. All right, let's spread out. We're going to end over there by that wall. So have some fun with it. Don't film cars. Stay out of other tours' way. Oh, great. That guy's going right in front of my wall. Super great.
So, you talked a lot about pirates. I had an exorcism come up and we didn't talk much about exorcising anything or anything that just random.
Again, you have to remember that happens meant to try to scare people.
Where's this powder keg thing?
Those buildings right there. But you have to go out to get to them. You have to go through.
Oh God, son.
You have to go straight into the left.
Come on. Out here.
Are you looking at it?
Yeah, come on. No, you gotta stay with me. Somebody's gotta be in the scene.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm too scared to do it alone.
Really?
Yeah, that stuff freaks me out. The powder magazine. Wow.
Look, it's like they had one for children.
That's crazy, isn't it?
And I just heard a ghost.
I just farted.
It's the gate. Okay, I put it through. Yeah. This is rare to go off here. So. Just
We're looking inside here. He had to come with me though. Remember, I had to have someone with me all the time. I played that card, so.
There you go. I got Grandpa. It's Grandpa Pirate.
I got John.
It's pretty cool. You can see right in here through this gate here.
Oh yeah, the Power
Yeah,
magazine.
yeah. Hop over or the pole there. You want a shoulder? And you're good.
You're good. We're not very good
Look
at
at you guys
following
go.
rules here.
The jersey's coming out, right?
Yeah, that's it.
This is where they put all the gunpowder. So how do they put all the sand in the roof? Like that's just weird to me. Were they just like an attic full of
I shared
sand?
1832.
Isn't that crazy?
Hey, buddy.
It's like, don't leave me.
That's right. All alone in the parking lot. Sorry about that. My bad. So no ghosts. Huh? No cold spirits.
Nothing.
Ready? Oh.
You guys in town for a while?
No, just today, actually.
Just today?
Yeah, we actually this is our like the most southern spot that we're going. We're shooting back up. We have an RV actually that we rented. Yeah, so,
What years he ran for presidency.
so yeah, we're just hitting a few spots on the way back.
Like that's good stuff.
I may have heard Liza or Lisa or something,
We have another Lisa that showed up tonight too. It's weird. Very odd.
and I think I just heard Queen.
And I got a sheep.
We got a lot of female pronouns here because of Anne. To remember, she was identity crisis girl.
Oh, I'm sorry.
All right. Any readings coming out of yours, Fisher?
No.
Nothing. And no other watery terms coming out of your list, Michelle?
No.
Normally we'll get like boat or slip or something along those lines. Like we do always get watery terms.
No. Loop. Alien.
Alien.
Grandpa. Hide.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I'm gonna call it on this one. So let's head over to the wall and we'll kind of show you how I wrap this up. Dan, you okay?
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
Y'all relaxed now?
Yeah.
It's over.
Yeah. Well, I don't. It's been very entertaining. You're very good at what you do. So.
Yeah, for sure.
I'll take that. All right. So get you guys some answers, and then I'll start collecting devices, and you guys can ask me a million questions if you like, or you can just bolt out of here and go get your pizza. You're making me hungry. I'm keep talking about that damn pizza you ordered. All right. So I'd like to show you what Anne Bonny looked like, just like I normally do. However, I'd like to point out that this is one of the few pictures that I could find of this woman with a shirt on. She used to bare her breast to show men that she killed that they were just killed by a woman. I told you, she was a badass.
Wow.
I also like this picture because it shows off the flintlocks. So I'm not a gun person, but I find these guns fascinating, and I keep studying them because I keep getting terms of pieces of a flintlock. So again, it's things I don't know about. So when I have to learn something, I'm stoked. I'm like, yes, you guys taught me something. So the name of her parents, William Cormack and Mary Brennan. So again, you weren't expecting another Mary, which is one of the reasons why I set up those questions that way, because you weren't expecting it, because I already told you I'm not going to play any more word tricks on you. So as far as Calico Jack goes, I'd like to show you what he looked like and then tell you the name of his ship. So Calico Jack was named that because of the jackets that he wore. They were stolen from the men he killed. That's why he was called Calico Jack. So
It's kind of cool, isn't it?
And Calico Jack is actually dubbed as the inventor, or I guess originator of the pirate flag that you normally affiliate with pirates, which would be the skull and crossbones. Only it originated as skull and cross swords for the Jolly Roger. This was his design. So that's, again, very famous pirate. The name of his ship was called the Kingston. So it's very interesting that we heard Queen. And I don't expect the word Kingston to pop up. I do expect the word King, which is acceptable in this case because Kingston is going to be very difficult to come up with. So again, I think you guys did very well. I think everybody had a blast, which was good. That's the whole point of this. You guys gave me a lot of great clues of things that I might even have to research. I'm super stoked about this John 1832 thing you got going on. Again, when you guys have to teach me something, like I'm all about it. So, I tell the same story 6 to 7 nights a week. So when I have to learn something new, that's where it gets exciting.
Yeah.
And all the stuff that I told you guys tonight was not from the tourism office saying
I didn't do it.
that
Blue.
was awesome. I
It
saw
just
it.
went to blue.
I saw it. I'm waiting for more. You're gonna hold yours. You're gonna do yours last. So all of this stuff that I told you guys tonight was stuff I learned from the tours. Again, I started off very slow. Just a voice recorder and a K2 meter. Let's do this. And I think I had an SB7. So again, it just kept growing and growing and growing until it was like, oh, now I got this big 2-hour deal and all these extra gadgets. So, and I keep changing. I'm going to be changing it up here in the next couple of weeks as the summer crowd starts to come in. So if you guys are ever coming back here again, and this is a tour you want to do again, first off, call me because I give you discounts because you're a repeat customer. But at the same token, it'll be something, a new space. I'll probably take out Big John's, and I'm looking to add the circular graveyard at the end of this. Even though I told you we don't get a lot of activity from it, there's a Pinckney in there that I get a lot of activity from over here. So I'm hoping that if I'm next to his grave and we're kind of doing things, maybe we can get something that way. So I'm going to start collecting devices. I'm going to go this way just so Fisher can keep, I'm going to get another blue reading out of him, and then you guys can ask me a million questions. So we just one. Blue again?
Oh,
Yeah.
now
Is it
he's
because you're close there?
Is this it?
Would this cause that?
That's motion. Something's moving here.
Oh, hell no.
You should get thermal.
I'll get the camera on it, but I'm not going to be too close.
Yeah, this building is not going to cause that. Like, this is a wall. The building's on the other side of it. And when I say, like, something's moving, watch how close my hand has to get. So it's right here.
There's blue.
It's right here. So I have it set really small because we're walking. I can spread it out to be this big, but I only do that when I'm in one location and I set it on a table and I widen up the span. So that way, in case anything gets near it at all, then I know I might actually have something. All right, gotta give yours up, dude. Nice job, though. You actually heard stuff out of this, which, again, the spirit boxes are not an easy job, so. Definitely not an easy job, especially the ones that are static with. How much footage do you think we got? Oh, wow.
I just left my whole family. Took off.
I can only get about 20 to 25 out of it.
That's why they call me Calico Dan.
volume. Rolly.
Alright. Take yours. Yeah, nice job too, by the way. Again, not an easy job. I have nights where some people have such a hard time with this. I don't have anything to go off of when I get started anymore. Like, no notes at all. So, again, the kids are...
Kid, stop it. Turn it off.
We're gonna leave it on. Make it go to purple, Ann. You gotta get closer to it.
Yeah.
Don't drop it.
That's funny. I love it. So, volume down first. And pull your earbuds. Keep your own earbuds. Your own souvenir. I buy them in bulk. Like the last shipment that showed up, my wife was cracking up because I ordered like I think like 2,000 of them. Like I was like, I'm tired of ordering them every month, so I'm just gonna order them for the rest of the year.
It's so nice not to hear that in my ear.
Wait till you get the recording tomorrow. Dan will take yours. He's like, I'm glad to give it up. Love it.